Recently, I've noticed quite a few politicians and talking heads in the media using some very specific language when talking about gun control. In particular, I keep hearing words including reasonable and common sense, and the newest fad in rhetorical spin, gun safety. Take a look.
We have to enact responsible gun safety legislation to reduce gun violence in this country.
He's against any reasonable gun safety legislation.
And long term, they're going to have a group of voters who are much more open to common sense gun safety.
He poured that money in on behalf of the families that already lost children and on behalf of people, I feel, that believe in reasonable gun safety laws.
We cannot let the power of the NRA drown out the voices of ordinary Americans who believe in common sense gun safety.
Now, you see what they're doing, right? They're using condescending, manipulative language in an effort to shame people for disagreeing with them. If I oppose the 7-round limit that passed in New York recently because I might need more than that to protect myself from, say, a 200-pound attacker, or perhaps even 2 attackers, somehow I'm not being reasonable? And yet, when Dianne Feinstein says she had the gun bill in her desk for a year, just waiting for the next tragedy to occur, well, you tell me, what's reasonable about waiting for the next tragedy in order to exploit the victims and their families? And the fact that I believe an armed guard at schools would prevent acts of violence is somehow outside the realm of common sense, even though the public school I attended had an armed guard on campus and we never had any issues. That brings us to the phrase gun safety. Formerly, of course, the phrase was gun control, but apparently that didn't pull so well, so they had to change the name. See, they do this on purpose. For example, if you're asked, what do you think about the new gun safety bill? And you respond, well, I'm anti-gun safety. How does that make you look? You look like a monster, when in reality, all you are is a law-abiding citizen who simply believes in a strong Second Amendment. It's very specific, manipulative language. All of this is supposedly being done in response to recent shootings, but what does gun safety have to do with addressing gun violence? It's not like they're proposing that mass shooters be aware of their target and what's beyond it. No one is telling criminals to always keep their gun pointed in a safe direction. Why? Because the debate over how to reduce gun violence is not about gun safety. So guess who happens to be the national leader on gun safety? That's right, the big, scary, evil NRA. Many people outside of the membership of the NRA are unaware that the NRA has actually trained tens of thousands of instructors who in turn train millions of gun owners how to safely handle and store their firearms. And their Eddie Eagle program is the nation's leader in teaching young kids what to do if they come across a firearm outside of the supervision of an adult. In fact, the NRA is the only body that has come up with an actionable plan to prevent any more gun violence in schools in the wake of Sandy Hook. Not even Congress could do that. Co-opting words is nothing new in the political sphere. Everyone does it. But that certainly does not mean that we, the voters, are going to buy it. My message to politicians in the media: listen, despite the words you use, we know exactly what you mean. And my message to you, the voters, is to pay very close attention to what these talking heads are actually saying and think for yourself.